Hello, and welcome to part 4 of the urban legend Iceberg. If you want to see the original image of the iceberg, you can look in the description below and find the original Reddit post where the user DarkMoon230 originally posted this image on Reddit. They are a close friend to me, and I would appreciate it if you gave them some kind of shout out or commented on their Reddit post. Thank you. Let's explore the iceberg. The Goatman is a creature often seen in the state of Maryland in the USA. It's reported that this creature was first seen on Fletchertown Road, Bowie, and he apparently would stalk anyone around the area of the road and eventually would track them down and slaughter them. It was reported that a family even lost their dog, and days later, their dog was found near a road, dead and decapitated. Many people say that this creature used to exist between the 1970s and the 1980s, with many people reporting that it let off horrific yells in the woods, and people report that they used to find dead animals in the wake of where this creature used to roam. People say that this Goatman was once a human who worked in the Bettsfield Agricultural Research Center. Apparently this scientist was experimenting with goats and humans, when suddenly the experiment went horrifically wrong, and this scientist was suddenly a half-man, half-goat creature. He soon broke out of the research facility, and then began the legend of the Goatman. However, there is also another legend in Texas, which is also called the Goatman. This Goatman haunts the old Orton Bridge. Allegedly, this Goatman was once a black farmer who was known to be a highly respected member of the community north of the Orton Bridge, and the locals even made a sign for him saying, "This way to the Goatman." However, once the Ku Klux Klan heard of this man, he was brutally lynched by the Klan. They hung his body on Alton Bridge. They remembered, however, that his family had also seen the whole event take place, so when the Klan went back to lynch the rest of his family as well, they were each brutally murdered. Apparently, when you cross the bridge with no headlights, you will see the Goatman itself, but not all the interactions have been pleasant, because some unfortunate people have reported being threateningly grabbed by the creature, and even having rocks thrown at them by the creature itself. The Dog Boy is an urban legend surrounding a house in Little Rock, which is in the state of Arkansas, where people have allegedly seen the spirit of a man who has the face of a dog. People claim to see this figure when they walk up to the house and look through its upstairs window. People have even reported walking through the house and they'll see someone walking directly towards them whilst wearing clothes, which would look much more old-fashioned. Then this figure will look suspiciously at them, glaring at them like they aren't supposed to be there. Ghost hunters have also reported feeling threatened to leave the property, as apparently this spirit has cursed at them several times. The spirit most people believe resides in this house is called Dog Boy, who used to be known as Gerard Floyd Betts, who was called Dog Boy because he would capture and torture any stray animals that he could get his hands on. Neighbours report hearing howls in the night coming from his house, and as Gerard grew older, he also grew more violent, often fighting with his father. This escalated one night, where he threw his father out the upstairs window, where the father grabbed onto the ledge until the police arrived. As this man was in his 70s, a fall of this magnitude would have surely done him major harm, or even caused death. However, Floyd Betts later died in 1981 after he succumbed to an illness that he had for a while, but many people believe that he was thrown down the stairs of his house by Gerard. Gerard continued to patrol the house for a couple more years, abusing his mum, before he was caught selling illegal substances out of his sunroom in his house, which caused him to be arrested in the late 1980s, but he still remained in jail until he died of an overdose in 1988. But people still report Gerald's hostile spirit living in the form of a half-dog, half-man ghost in his childhood home, forever roaming the grounds and eerily disturbing anyone who enters. Mothman is a creature that has been reported numerous times in the state of West Virginia. It's reported to have black furry skin with 2 giant wings which cover its whole body, along with 2 red eyes which ominously stand out in the dark. It was reported in 1956 when 2 young couples described seeing a creature with eyes that glowed red when their headlights flashed alongside the creature's face. These reportings went around this area for days, with different people reporting sightings of this mysterious creature, until December 13th, 1967, where it was reported moments after this creature had been sighted, the bridge collapsed, causing the death of 46 people. After this, the Mothman has been seen in many places around the world, right before a large loss of human life is set to occur. The black-eyed children are apparitions which have appeared all over the world, but no one really knows what these creatures want. But they are most commonly seen as children between the ages of 6 and 16. They are reported to be seen on the sides of roads or knocking on people's doors asking to come inside. According to one story, a woman let these mysterious children into her house only for them to ask where her restroom is. When her husband directed these children to the restroom, the woman saw these children had black, abyss-like eyes. When she reported this information to her husband, his nose started to bleed as he too had seen this horrific sight. Then, the power went out suddenly, and one of the children said, "Our parents are here now." The husband and wife immediately ran from the property, only to see 2 men who were very slender like creatures taking away these black-eyed children, and they never saw them again. Days after this event, strange occurrences began around the house, including 3 of their 4 cats going missing, and the 4th one dying in a pool of his own blood mysteriously. Even as the days went on, nosebleeds that the husband had from that event didn't stop, so they decided to visit the hospital and ask for local doctors' help. They told the husband that he had a highly unusual form of cancer, which caused him to have these nosebleeds. There have been several theories about what these black-eyed children are, including that they are aliens from outer space trying to obtain some kind of human form, and are occasionally let out by the men in black to see how the general public will react. Another theory is that these children are meant to be the devil's children, and if you let them into your house, then you are inviting the devil into your house. Some people also say that they are vampiric creatures who wait at your bedside, waiting for you to fall asleep, so they can claim their reward. The chupacabra is a creature that is reported to be seen in the deep south of America and all over Mexico and Puerto Rico. This creature's first reported victims were several pieces of livestock in the year 1975. When authorities first saw the aftermath of this event, they thought that it was some kind of satanic cult who drank the blood of their livestock because of how brutal these attacks were. However, there continued to be more and more reports happening around Puerto Rico. However, authorities realized that it couldn't have been a humanoid committing these horrific attacks, because when they looked into the livestock's corpses, they noticed that the livestock had very small bites and incisions all over their body. These incisions were too small to be made by a human, so they thought that it must have been made by some sort of creature. It's reported that this creature looks similar to a dog or a coyote. In other descriptions, this creature is reported to have the appearance of a more reptile-like creature though, with greyish-greenish skin, with a similar body to a kangaroo, where it can stand up on its hind legs and go face to face with its victim. However, there have been more sightings of this blood-sucking creature, even up to the modern day, and many people still believe it is the reason that their livestock died horrifically. TEKE is a Japanese story about a woman called Kahima Raiko, who was an office worker in Moran, Hokkaido. After finishing her day at work, she was walking to the train station, where she was then assaulted by several military officials, who then pushed her onto the train tracks. After they were done with her assault, she was left on the tracks, severely injured and unable to move. She decided to just wait for the train to come so she could die a more peaceful death. Eventually, the train came and it cut her in two. However, she was still alive because the weather was so cold that her blood froze after she had been cut in two. She tried to call for help, squirming around the train station, but only one employee saw her struggle, and instead of helping her, she put a plastic sheet over her body, leaving her to die a horrific and painful, slow death. But this woman didn't die as any other person would. Her body turned into the vengeful spirit of TEKE, who appears as the upper half of the woman's torso, whilst also holding a scythe. For anyone unlucky enough to hear of her backstory, you cannot escape TEKE, as this spirit can travel at speeds faster than any car, and no one is known to have escaped her wrath. The slit-mouthed woman is an urban legend about a beautiful woman who's wearing a surgical mask, who walks around in Japan looking for a victim to ask the question, "Am I pretty?" If the victim replies back with no, she will kill them immediately with the scissors she is holding in her hand. If you reply that she in fact looks nice, she will take off her mask to reveal her slit mouth, then ask, "Am I pretty?" again. If the victim replies with either no or any sign of negativity, she will split the person in two with her scissors. If they reply with yes, she will carve the same smile onto your face that is similar to her own. However, you can only escape an encounter with a slit-mouthed woman by either saying that she looks average, or by confusing her in some way where they will be long enough for her to not realize that you are trying to escape. This urban legend was such a massive fear in Japan that in 1979, children had to be escorted home by members of the Japanese PTA because they were afraid of possible attacks by the slit-mouthed woman. Charlie No-Face, also known as the Green Man, is an urban legend about a man who walked around the state of New Jersey, who people claimed had glowing green skin after a nuclear accident at the Donetsk power plant, and now he's a spectre who wanders around the local area looking for victims. However, this urban legend was sadly true, and was used to humiliate an innocent man known as Ray Robinson. When he was 8 years old, he accidentally touched a wire on a telephone line, which led to his face becoming heavily burnt and his body becoming heavily injured. After this event, Ray chose to live a quiet life, because everyone else in his life wanted to humiliate him because of his appearance, and because of this constant mockery, Ray chose to go out for walks late at night for comfort, so he wouldn't be seen by the general public and could embrace the night he loved so much on his own. People would sometimes like to talk with Ray and even drink beers with him. However, teens would sometimes bully Ray and make fun of his appearance, fight with him, make him drink bottles of urine, and even drive him down roads which he didn't know the way back from. After a while, it was reported that Ray started to carry around a pistol so he could stop this barrage of harassment. Sadly, Ray Robinson died in 1985 at the Beaver County Geriatric Counter. The story of La Llorona is that of a Latina woman who had 2 children and was married with a beautiful man, who she discovered one day was having an affair with another woman. Blinded by a rage of this affair, she drowned her 2 children in a pool of water, which she immediately regretted doing as she looked down at their bodies, trying to helplessly revive them. Unable to reconcile her feelings with herself over the loss of her children, she decided to also drown herself, thinking that she would see them in the afterlife. However, the greater deities wouldn't accept her into the afterlife until she found her children, so she spends her life endlessly going around the earth looking for her children, crying and moaning everywhere she searches. The Jersey Devil is a creature that was born in the area of New Jersey around 1735, where a mother had just given birth to her 12th child. When suddenly she found out that she was pregnant again, she claimed that her 13th child was going to be the devil itself. So when it came to this child actually being born, birth seemed to be going fine, until suddenly the child, after being born, grew wings, hooves, a forked tail, and even a goat's head. Immediately after this happened, this creature then started to attack any passers-by, and immediately went up the chimney to escape, never to be seen by the family again. But in the local area, there began stories of strange livestock killings, and people saw a strange creature floating around the local sky, looking down on them. People have even claimed to have fired cannons at it, doing no damage at all. People have tried to find this creature and capture it, with its maximum bounty even going up to $100,000 at one point. However, no one has been able to successfully imprison this beast from committing any more heinous actions. The Bunny Man was once a resident in an insane asylum called Douglas Griffin. However, he was being transferred to another asylum due to his old asylum being nearly abandoned because of its inefficiency of handling the inmates. However, this bus curved off the road that was taking him to his new asylum, so all the patients escaped, and all of them were eventually caught, except from Douglas. When the police were searching for Douglas, they found multiple dead bunnies that were half-eaten on Halifax Station Bridge, and that was all that was seen of this mysterious fig's actions for a while, until Halloween night sometime in the 1970s, where several teenagers were found hanging from the same bridge who were given the same treatment as the bunnies. However, this story seems to be based on an even stranger story, as allegedly a couple was sitting in their car on Halifax Road near midnight when suddenly a man dressed in a white suit with bunny ears came out and told the couple that they were on his property, and then he threw an axe at their car, smashing their windscreen. However, no one inside their car was hurt. Around 2 weeks later, another event was sighted and reported around a block away from the first incident. A security guard saw what he reported to be some kind of man-beast creature holding an axe, and this thing was seen inside an abandoned property on the opposite side of the road to him. So this security guard started to speak with this strange creature. However, this creature began to get more and more irritated with this man's questions, and it began to swipe at a nearby pole with its axe, saying, "All you people trespass here. If you don't get out of here, then I'll bust you on the head." Then the security guard walked away, only returning the next day with no sight of the Bunny Man. However, it's said that if you go on this bridge, or near this bridge, on Halloween night, then the Bunny Man will render your fate the same as the bunnies and the teenagers who laid before you. Krampus is a demonic version of Saint Nicholas in Northern European culture. It's said that Krampus and Saint Nicholas arrive on the night of December 5th, which is also known as Krampus Night. Krampus leaves any badly behaving children with branches and sticks in their stockings, while Saint Nicholas gives out presents and gifts. However, it is also said that if a child has been especially naughty and misbehaving, then they will be eaten by Krampus, or even dragged to hell itself with him. Then, on December 6th, children will awake to see what is left behind after their visit. I would love to see your opinions in the comment section below on what you thought my video was like. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.